Bourbonbarkeep. My name's Curtis. Welcome back. Welcome to the new people, and welcome back, Penelope Rio. Carnival in a Glass is back. Let's get it poured up and get a review underway. Penelope Rio, one of the esteemed bottles, if you will, in the Penelope Cooper series, which is apparently named after the founder's son. I'm just going to assume it's Cooper and not series. Penelope Rio, this is batch 4. Yes, I know. They keep bringing them back. They're highly sought after. I don't blame them. 2024 Penelope Rio actually won double gold at the SIP Awards, so good for them. They do change batch to batch, apparently. I believe it was batch 1 to batch 2. They lowered the Amberana finishing time. That was probably a good decision. But ultimately, these do change batch to batch. If you're unfamiliar with the Penelope Rio, this is going to be the Penelope 4-grain mash bill. We found out it's the wheated mash bill, so 16% wheat in there. So that's something, I guess. But this is also going to be double cask finished in an Amberana and a honey cask. And I heard that and I was like, well, do I want to put that in my body? Not really. Am I a little burnt out of Amberana? Yes. But then I heard that it wasn't as Amberana as some other distillers. I was like, all right, fine. It's what the people want. Let's put it on YouTube and see if I save you a bunch of money and also save you from diabetes. As mentioned previously, these batches do change. I don't know how drastic it is, but ultimately they tweak some of the finishing times. So if last year was Carnival in a Glass, this one, according to Michael Palladini out at Penelope, this is actually a party in a bottle or party in a glass. Either way, it's a party. We'll be a judge of that because I'm an introvert and I like to stand in the corner of the party. So we'll see if this brings me out of my shell. This guy's coming in at 98 proof. As we mentioned before, double cask finished in that Amberana wood. Little nervous. And honey, also slightly nervous. Havana had me intrigued with the rum and the maple syrup. I was slightly disappointed. Let's see if this boosts my spirits. This batch is supposedly the biggest batch that they've put out of the Penelope Rio, looking at about 51,000 bottles. Will you be lucky person of the 51,000? I hope so. I'm rooting for you. And if this winds up being absolute sweet shit, then we saved a bunch of money. And good for you. Look at you. To wrap up the specs of the bottles, we got a 98 proofer, the typical, if you will. Oh no, yeah, it's around at this point. 4-grain mash bill for Penelope. You have the 74% corn, 16% wheat, 7% rye, and unless I really F this up, 3% malted barley. And if that equals 101, here we are. This is going to run you about $90 if you find it at that. Let's see if it's worth it. Now that we've wrapped up the specs piece of this, let's get this on the nose. See how this treats us. Like I said, I'm slightly burned out by the Amberana. It's sweet, it's cinnamon, but if you're unfamiliar with that Amberana finish, it's not cinnamon spice. Think of it more like cinnamon roll or cinnamon toast crunch cereal or Cinnabon. And if you haven't tried any of those, I can't help you outside of communicating what this actually smells like. So let's get it on the nose and see. Do I start out with the obvious? It is Cinnabon with that buttercream frosting. It does go into a nice, rich, thick buttercream frosting. Not a lot of vanilla. If you passed this to me, I could not tell you this was a whiskey, to be fair. This is going to sound pretentious. Yeah, we do this probably monthly. It's like a farmer's market honey. It's like I just scraped the honey out of the beehive and they weren't thrilled about it. But guess what? Daddy came prepared and he's zipped up and he's not getting stung today. But slight cinnamon, it's an overwhelming, rich, natural honey and cinnamon with that buttercream frosting. If there was any other notes to get around the amberana and the honey, which I understand that is kind of the point of this, I would say there is like a nice nutmeg in there. And that may be it. I mean, it's accomplishing what I feel like Penelope probably set out to do when it comes to smelling it. So let's get it on the palate and see if they did that. They crushed that as well. Wow. Has a little more spice than what I was anticipating in a good way. It's like that they overfilled the Cinnabon with that cinnamon goodness, that gooey goodness. And to be fair, the viscosity kind of resembles that gooey goodness. That buttercream frosting continues. It's actually pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Well, good for you guys. That cinnamon candy lingers on the tongue. It is very viscous, man. Whew. That's not bad. If you like a good cinnamon roll, you found it. We've tried Starlight's cigar batch on this channel before. The proof was higher. This actually drinks with a little more viscosity than what I remember Starlight bringing. And I feel like the honey tames back what that cinnamon toast crunch cereal was on the Starlight front. The honey brings it into, maybe it's the viscosity, but it brings it into this nice realm that kind of takes the sweet edges off in a weird way that honey can. That doesn't make any sense, but this is a wild bottle. Let's get it on the palate for sip 2 and see if there's anything else in here besides Cinnabon, glorious, glorious Cinnabon. Sip 2 always helps. It was good on sip 1. I feel like a little more came out on sip 2. Obviously, that honey is very influential in this, so I'm curious if they up the honey cask length finish at this point. The viscosity is absolutely incredible. It's like a watered down honey, and I mean that in a great way. Going back to the farmer's market, instead of you buying the one that's just scraped off the beehive, it's kind of like those honey sticks, but it's the cinnamon flavored. There's a nice sweet candied cinnamon in there. Like a graham cracker kind of starts to come out. Your Cinnabon's always going to be there, to be fair. On the finish, that graham cracker kind of continues. It's almost like a cinnamon toast or a cinnamon sugar toast. You just slap some butter on there, that little cinnamon sugar, and you're on your way to 3rd grade, just as high and sugar filled as you could possibly want to be. Slight kind of cream soda comes out at the end. I mean, it's a dessert whiskey. You got to know going in. It's not something that I'm going to typically reach for, but this is going to be a really fun bottle to share, celebrate with. Once again, I feel like Penelope's just popping out in this dark spring for whatever reason. They're pumping out just lights out summer whiskeys. So I'm excited to revisit what Havana and what Rio kind of brings to the table. But you got to know what you're getting into. So I think that's what makes the scoring very difficult on bottles like what Penelope's been putting out with the Havana, with the Rio, to where, is it going to do really well for Whiskey of the Year? Is it stacking up against what apparently Jack Daniel's 14 brings to the table, what Russell's 15 brings to the table last year? Not from my personal palate, but for a whiskey newbie that wants to experience something new and is still going for really sweet pours, that's fine. This is going to be fantastic, and you're going to be super excited you found it. When it comes to our scoring system, it's based off on my palate. I try and go in knowing this is what you bought. How does it stack up? Not necessarily against Russell's 15, but according to our grading scale. Penelope Rio is pretty good. It's fun. I could get tired of it very quickly with it being that amberana finish, but ultimately, I think that they really crush what they were trying to accomplish with this party in a bottle, if you will. So how does it fit into the categories? Oh, that's a tough one. I think this one gets a little bit more benefit of the doubt than the Havana, mainly because I was told the Havana was finished in rum cask and maple syrup cask, and all I felt like I got was the maple syrup. This one, both casks come out. I think the experience is fantastic. I'm going to go 72. I don't go super sweet whiskey, so I could see someone else enjoying this much more than me. But ultimately, I think knowing what you're buying with the Amberana and the honey, they accomplish it great. It's smooth. It gives you a nice cinnamon, nice hug for the 98 proof that it is. So I would say overall, it's in the good stuff, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I would be as high as I am. I just wish that Havana brought out that rum. Come on, Penelope. Bang for the buck's going to be a tough one. This one's clocking in at $90. It's a younger whiskey, but you have a little proof on there, and you have that difficulty of the double cast finish. The Amberana wood, not super cheap if you're unfamiliar with that. So there's nothing like it out there. I think that this is probably one of the better Amberana finishes that I've ever had. So $90, I got my money's worth. If I'm in someone else's shoes and I'm really trying to find something sweet and I really like that Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Cinnabon, I'm going to be pretty pumped about it. I'm just going to go 62. I got my money's worth. I'm excited about it. I think that they've done a really good job at curbing how strong that Amberana could come across. So good for Penelope. It's a good pour. Yeah, it pains me to say that I think I would pick the Rio over the Havana, but if you wanted that rum finish, they missed out. They have this maple syrup bomb, and it's really good and it's really smooth, but ultimately I felt like they missed the mark on that double cast finish, whereas this one, I think they're continuing to fine tune it, and they're doing a great job with it. So congrats to Cooper and his dad, and he's going to be very well off, and I wish my name was Cooper, but sadly, it is not. Thanks for tuning in, and let me know what you all think of the Rio series. I know this is pretty highly sought after by a lot of people, and we'll see how they continue to kind of tweak this. But this batch, this is a buy. If you've liked the previous batches, this is definitely a buy.